Hey, this is Keith Landecker for Groove 93. And when you want to buy a home, you got to turn to the experts. I have Bryan Fryar here, real estate sales manager for Tennessee Valley Federal Credit Union. And he's going to answer all the questions you need to know to buy that home. Bryan, how you doing, man?
Doing great. How are you doing today?
Well, what's the first thing you do when it's time to get a home?
Oh, wow. It's a big process, but first thing I always recommend is getting a budget. Setting down, looking at your monthly income, look at your monthly outgo, what your monthly debts are, utilities, etc. Looking at that budget, setting realistic expectations about what you can afford. I always tell people the first thing is to look about a home that they can afford, a payment they can afford. If you're currently renting, that's a good place to start. If you're comfortable with that rental payment, you're able to make that payment, save a little bit, pay your bills. That's a good way to start. So budgeting is very, very important, especially you want to look at in the future. Also, too, if you have children and if you look at them going to private school, you want to budget for that. Also, if you have any maybe some home improvements you might want to do on that home, putting some money aside, you want to look at that too as part of your budget. Also, if you have some children maybe further in the future that are looking at going to college, you'll need to be budgeting for college also to include that in with your budget too. So also, looking at what you currently have, but looking at the future, what you can afford. Also too, I always tell people once they get done with their budget to go ahead and talk to a mortgage professional, a loan officer, or an originator, as we call it in the business, hopefully someone with TVFCU, but you want to get pre-qualified. Getting pre-qualified is basically doing an application and a scenario, looking at what you can afford, the purchase price, the payment, and everything. So you want to talk to that professional and make sure that you can get pre-qualified. What they're going to do is they're going to be pulling your credit, they're going to be looking at your income, your scenario, and everything looks like it fits into the loan program that you selected. Then they'll go ahead and give you a letter on our letterhead, and that letter basically says that you're pre-qualified to purchase a home up to this purchase price. And that letter is going to show your realtor. It's also going to show sellers that you are serious and that you've already talked to a real estate professional and that you can afford that type of home or that home that you want to purchase. So that's very, very important to get that letter in hand. And generally those letters also too, they're good for a certain period of time. They can be good for 60 days, 90 days, etc. That also gives you some time to go out there and shop too and looking for that home, which is very important. It gives you a little bit of leeway there so you're not under the gun to find that home within the next 3 or 4 days because shopping can be intimidating. Also too, when you're talking or before you talk to that mortgage professional, I'd also recommend looking at your credit too. Credit is paramount, and it's kind of a mystery there. I've been in the business 23 years and it's still a mystery to me sometimes. But a good way to start is you can go to a website called annualcreditreport.com. That website was set up by Congress and a law that was passed several years ago, signed by the president. But you can get a copy of each one of your credit bureaus. There are 3 credit bureaus in the United States. There's Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian. And by law, you can go to that website and you can get a free copy of each one of those. I recommend getting all 3 copies too, because there can be differences because some companies report to different entities than they do the other one. So one may report to Equifax, one report to TransUnion. So you want to get all 3 copies of that credit report. One thing about that though, you will not get your credit score with that credit report. If you do want that, you'll have to pay extra or pay to get that. So just be aware that you won't get your credit score, but at least you'll get those items that are showing on your credit. It's going to show any current debts, any previous debts that you've had, possibly if you have any collections or judgments that'll be on there. If there's anything on there that's a negative, you'll need to see about getting that corrected if you can, or pay it off or pay it down. Once you do that, the main thing about credit, if your credit score is a little bit low, it takes time. Once you get that corrected or paid off, it's going to take a little time to build those credit scores back up, make sure you're making your payments on time, etc. Also, too, once you're talking to that mortgage professional, if you can't get pre-qualified currently, then that mortgage professional is going to tell you what you need to do to help you get to a point where you can pre-qualify. May not be right now, maybe 6 to 12 months from now, but it's going to put you in a better position, get your credit scores up, give you better terms, and give you a better interest rate. So definitely want to look at your credit too.
Tennessee Valley Federal Credit Union, if you're trying to buy a home, you got to turn to the professionals, and these guys are the professionals. You can see he knows what he's talking about. This is Bryan Fryar. Just give him a call. Hey, how do they get a hold of you?
Best way to get a hold of us is tvfcu.com, our website. Lots of information there. You can apply online there, or you can give us a call, 423-634-3600.
Bryan Fryar, he is the real estate sales manager. He knows his stuff. This is Keith Landecker for Groove 93 WMPZ.